Hello everybody and welcome back to what is a very special episode of Tokenised World. I had the chance last week to speak with Diarmuid Maddock from the Defactor team about all things RWAs, and I just said, hey, let me ask you a few questions, record them for an episode of Tokenised World, and he said absolutely no problem. So that's exactly what we did. Before we continue, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It really means a lot to the channel. We're trying to make it grow. We have big targets this year. So help us get there with a little subscribe and enjoy the content, everyone. He really knows what he's talking about when it comes to RWAs. So yeah, this is a special one. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, my name is Diarmuid Maddock. I am a business operations associate here at Defactor. I began my professional career with Defactor, but before that I was doing a lot of freelance work within the cryptocurrency space. And also a speculative investor. So for trends and developments within the RWA space, of course a big one is going to be stablecoins. Reason being is there's a lot more regulatory clarity now in the likes of the EU and Asia. Hong Kong and Singapore are examples of this. Another example is novel asset classes. So we'll see the likes of carbon credits. DOVU is an example of a project that is focusing on this asset class. Another example is intellectual property rights, with OPULUS being an example of a project that is spearheading this also. And finally, I believe we'll see continued development in the scaling of real estate tokenization. Okay. So what everyone wants to hear about is the hottest RWA tokens. For me, personally right now, I see ONDO Finance being the #1 trending RWA token. Now, for anyone who is unaware of ONDO Finance, they are an RWA protocol that are providing liquid exposure to ETFs of US government treasury bills. So ONDO has been very successful over the past year or so. And the reason being is because of investor appetite, especially amongst institutions. So over the past 2 years or so, investor appetite has shifted really from risk-on assets to risk-off assets, especially when you have positive interest rates being offered by these short-term treasury bills. It offers a great way to have an ultra-low risk and stable return on investments. And ONDO positioned themselves great for this. Right now, the TVL for OUSG, which is the token that is backed by this ETF, is, I believe, 111 million, last time I checked, which of course is huge amongst other RWA protocols when you compare them. And on top of this, I mean, they work with high quality regulated service providers and asset managers like BlackRock, for example. And another aspect of ONDO, which you should not overlook, is the fact that it is the shiny new coin. Do not underestimate the shiny new coin effect. Traders love it. So right now, ONDO is listed on all major exchanges, bar Binance, and it's doing 100 million plus in trading volume. Now, why is this bullish for RWA? I'll tell you why. Generally, you want a first mover, right? A first mover will be a catalyst for an entire narrative. And we're seeing that now with ONDO. So what I expect to see is a rotation from ONDO into the likes of Maple, Centrifuge. Overall, it's just good visibility for the RWA narrative in general. And what I could see potentially is, as I mentioned, a shift from ONDO into the likes of Maple, Centrifuge, and then we might see a trickle down into the smaller market cap projects, sub 50 million. There's a ton of them, a ton of great projects with great teams behind them. So yeah, it's a very exciting time to, of course, be in crypto and RWA narrative in particular. POLYTRADE is another example of a trending RWA token. They've had a massive run over the past few months, and I think they've positioned themselves very well within the market. So again, for anyone who is unfamiliar with POLYTRADE, they are a marketplace right now, and they're offering a ton of asset classes and of course investments behind these asset classes. So depending on your risk profiles and your appetite as an investor, I see POLYTRADE as a one-stop shop essentially for these offerings. I've met people in person as well, genuine people, which is always good. It always makes you bullish on a project. So again, trade is one to definitely look out for. They've got a ton of momentum behind them, and yeah, looking forward to see what they do over the next few months.
So, We've just heard a little bit on what Dermot has to say about RWA's trends. He's going to speak a little bit on tokens and whatnot towards the end of the video, but a big part of what he likes to do on his socials and in his work is really get behind the narrative, whether that's the narrative behind a project or a complete space like RWA's. Here he is talking a little bit on it, and don't forget to comment if you have any questions to ask or if you have any insight yourself. Always love to hear back from the community.
Narratives, let's talk narratives. So right now, AI is obviously the prevailing narrative. And what usually happens in cycles is we see a rotation. We see a rotation from one narrative to the other. This is really just due to behavioral psychology of seemingly one narrative being played out. Investors will look for the next narrative to play. So right now, in total, the artificial intelligence market cap is around 18 billion. GameFi is like 24 billion. The way I see it is we're going to see a rotation of capital between these sort of more sexier narratives and then RWA towards the latter half of the year. The reason being is, as I've mentioned, it's just not as attractive straight away to the average trader because there's a lot more fundamentals you need to understand about tokenization. That being said, I believe it's one of the strongest in terms of fundamentals of all the narratives. And tokens such as ONDO Finance is really going to be a catalyst for it to move. So it's an exciting few months ahead and we'll see what happens.
With the series, I'd like to find a couple of questions that I always ask people who are working in the space. And one of them I've really kind of grown to like and discussed with some other people in the space is, if you had $1,000 in the bag, where are you putting it? And that's the exact question I put to Dermot now.
So if I had $1,000, where would I put it? I think there's a lesson that I've learned recently, and that is Bitcoin is king. Don't underestimate Bitcoin. Stack Satoshis. But if I wasn't to put $1,000 into Bitcoin, I'd split it 4 ways. I'd put $1,000 into RWA. I got 25% with Defactor. Of course, I am biased, but I believe in the project. I believe in what we do. And number 2, I would put 25% into POLYTRADE, just because I love their positioning, love their marketing, and overall, yeah, they've done a great job of, as I said, just positioning themselves in the market. Number 3 and number 4, I would go with 2 of the big players. I'd go with Maple Finance and ONDO.
So everybody, I hope you have enjoyed what Dermot had to say about RWAs. I for one thought the insights were fantastic and I definitely picked up on a few new projects to go and check out. If this is something that has interested you and you thought it was really good, hit that like button, comment and let me know, just so I'll keep the short form content going. As always, big shout out to the RWA community. If you're interested in joining the community on Discord, head on over to our Discord channel now and I'll put a link or a QR code in the description here. And then until next time, it's your good friend Jack signing off. Peace out everyone and enjoy.
Short term. Let me try it again.
It was good though.
It was good, I'd say.